guys, it's your girl T, and I want to shout out Tip and Stan. They have requested that I do a video on the whole LL Cool J controversy. In my opinion, please do not call this a comeback. This has to be the most tragic song I've heard in years. So if you guys have not heard, LL Cool J dropped this song with Brad Paisley called Accidental Racist. And when I tell you the Twitterverse was up in arms, people went off, people were going in on LL Cool J, it caused a lot of controversy on both sides. So I'm going to go ahead and play you guys this first news clip, and it's of Brad Paisley and LL Cool J basically explaining themselves and, letting the world know how they decided to come with this song called Accidental Racist.
It's the new country meets hip-hop song. I'm just a white man coming to you from the Southland. That's anything but black and white.
Dear Mr. White Man, I wish you understood what the world is really like when you're living in the hood.
Country superstar Brad Paisley and veteran rapper LL Cool J tried to bridge two worlds with their collaboration on the song Accidental Racist from Paisley's latest album, Wheelhouse. It ain't like I can walk a mile in someone else's skin. The song takes on slavery, southern roots, and stereotypes, but begins with a simple premise. Paisley explaining himself to a black coffee shop worker who's offended by the Confederate flag on the singer's t-shirt. The two musicians sat down together for an exclusive interview with ABC News.
This is the most important interview in America today because of the song that we created and the importance of this issue in our lives.
I wanted to be able to break outside my comfort zone and basically explore things that I wasn't sure if they had never been explored because it doesn't work, or just the fact that it's just one of those things that's difficult to do.
We're still paying for the mistakes that a bunch of folks made long before we came. The lyrics are jarring yet earnest, and both the country crooner and the rap legend say ultimately the message here is one of compassion, respect, and simply moving on.
Some people take exception to some of the lyrics. I respect that. I'm sensitive to that.
But in the end, I felt like what we had on tape was something that people needed to hear.
In terms of symbols, sometimes I put a skull and crossbones on. And, my wife would get upset with me. But, I'm not a pirate. You know what I'm saying? So if my man got a Confederate flag on, I'm not going. That don't mean he's a Confederate soldier.
The song landed on YouTube Monday and has since been described as everything from a bad idea, horrible, and simply misguided.
Clearly, they wanted to get people talking, but I don't know if they actually expected it would get to this extent.
I'm proud of where
if you don't trust my gold chain,
not everything we've done.
I'll forget the iron chain. I'm not advising anyone to truly forget slavery. But what I am saying is forget the slavery mentality, forget the bitterness, don't get bitter, get better.
Beyond teaming up to try and heal racial tensions, it may also be a savvy business strategy. For these two stars, though, the song is less about bluntness and much more about progress.
And let's not be victims of things that happened so long ago.
Right.
Anymore.
And at the same time, let's respect it, but then after we respect it, let's also open our hearts up so that we can move forward, like human beings, and get this country rolling and get it on course the way it should be. But I see that red flag.
Okay, so you guys just watched the video. You guys just watched their explanation. And I love how LL Cool J acts like him and Brad Paisley are the first to do this. Does anybody else remember Nelly's 2004 song with Tim McGraw called Over and Over? Nelly was the first to hook up with a country artist, and he made a good song. It was something that everybody could relate to, and they sold millions. So LL Cool J and Brad Paisley are not the first to do this. What was most interesting to me was how a lot of black people took the lyrics as opposed to a lot of white people. And I went on a lot of different blogs, and I saw a lot of different comments. For the most part, a lot of black folks thought he was selling himself out. He was a house Negro. Basically, they were saying that LL Cool J thinks that he's not been accepted into white society, and he hasn't been. A lot of white people were taking the whole situation as if, blacks are the most racist people, blacks are racist against whites, black people need to just get over it, we have an entitlement issue. So it's very interesting to see how both races took to these songs. So in my opinion, this is how I feel about the whole situation. Now, you guys know I'm a slight conspiracy theorist. Now, I remember I had posted this picture of LL Cool J and Chris Donner that somebody had sent me on Facebook. And basically, it was this conspiracy that was going around saying that LL Cool J is Chris Donner. And if you guys know, Chris Donner was the cop that said that the LAPD was really, really racist towards him and they treated him a certain type of way. I don't know, it's just this crazy-ass conspiracy. But I just found it funny that when people tied him to the whole Chris Donner thing, that he came out with this whole accidental racist song. I don't know. I just find that funny. But with that being said, I feel like I didn't like the song. I didn't like it at all. I just felt, to me personally, that the lyrics were horrible. It was in poor taste. You know, I don't like the fact that he would compare, you know, wearing baggy clothes and a do-rag to slavery or Jim Crow or a Confederate flag. You know, I just wasn't feeling it. But I understand where him and Brad Paisley were coming from. I do understand what they were trying to get at. They were trying to start a conversation. They were trying to start a dialogue. So I understand that. But see, the problem is you can't talk about something that serious and that sensitive in America and put it into a 5-minute song. That's something where you have to come out and have a debate, have a friendly debate, have a sit down to talk about that. That's something that could have been done in an hour, 2-hour discussion. Not saying that an hour, 2-hour discussion would have resolved everything, but I think it would have made more sense if he would have did like a town hall meeting to address racism in America and how we can get over it and how we can all come together. I think that would have been a lot better if him and Brad Paisley would have did that instead of coming up with this 5-minute song that left room for so much misinterpretation. Because I think he meant well, but his execution was extremely flawed. You know, so he's just gonna have to accept the backlash. He's just gonna have to accept that a lot of people don't like the song. You know, like a lot of people are not gonna get over the fact. A lot of people are not gonna get over racism. And Ella also needs to realize too that he's not really in the same bracket as a lot of, you know, just regular black folks. You know, he's rich. You know, he's a multimillionaire. He's famous. So a lot of stuff that a lot of black people are going through in the hood or who are not as well-to-do go through, LL Cool J is not necessarily going through that. So while it's easy to say just get over it and move on, there's still a lot of racism out here, and I don't think it's fair for anybody to just disregard that. But let's be honest, there's racism on both parts as well. You know, sometimes people of color can be just as racist as white people. But I just feel like they had good intentions, but their execution was just flawed. I don't like the song. I don't really agree with the lyrics. Like I said, to me, they should have had some type of meeting, some type of town hall meeting, if they really wanted to get the discussion about race going. You don't put it in a 5-minute song, and, you know, it was just tragic, in my opinion. So anyways, go ahead, leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think about the entire situation. Do you guys like the song? Do you think the song is racist? And how do you feel about what LL Cool J had to say about the entire situation? How do you feel about his explanation? All right, deuces.